Thank you for joining me today. Our topic is going to be returning to the page. First, I do want to make a quick little announcement, and it's in basically a thank you for those of you who sent me kind words after the last video about writing and depression. I really do appreciate it. I know that depression is something that everyone has to deal with at some point, and it can be as wide-ranging as a severe depression to just a momentary time where it's like, I just really don't want to do anything. I don't feel like making the effort to do anything, and that is a depression. And you know, I appreciate everyone who basically sent words of support saying, you know, I understand. I may not have depression, but I can see where that can be something that would block you, and for various reasons. So thank you again. I also want to send out thanks, especially for those of you who sent me messages either through email or through Instagram or Facebook messaging about best wishes and concern for my mother as she battles breast cancer. She has had her surgery. She's doing very well. They were able to test the nodes right then and find that there was no cancer. So she's very lucky, and you know, she is well on her way to healing. And she's not going to have chemo or radiation, which is amazing. I'm always grateful. This is the second time around that she's had breast cancer, and the second time where she has not had to have chemo or radiation. So I do understand what a blessing that is, and I appreciate all of your thoughts and concerns and prayers, because I know y'all are putting the word out to the universe, to God, to whoever it is that you believe that that she is going to heal, and she is. Thank you so much. So on with the topic, which fits in really well with writing and depression from last time. Returning to the page. Doing that after an absence can be difficult. I am experiencing that myself. You have an experience where self-doubt can set in, and it makes you question whether you're going to actually be able to be creative whenever you go back to the page. Overwhelm from time lost can also be a huge huge distraction from being able to help you return to the page whenever you are finally ready to do it. But the important thing is, though, is that you do have to make that return. If you are creative, it is necessary for you to get back to creating at some point. And, you know, as for the self-doubt and the overwhelm, as I teach in my Write Fearlessly course, that's probably not going to go away. It's something, though, that you have to deal with. And you have to be able to know that, yes, that's there. Yes, it is real for me. But you can't let it win. It's kind of like with depression. You can't let it win. It's hard. It is very difficult, but you can't let it win. So some of the ways that you can go about dealing with those particular issues, or any other issue that is keeping you from writing when you are ready to return to the page, is it's a process. So first, you may want to return slowly to the page. You know, take some time every day, if you can, to make sure that you journal. Jot down a few ideas that you may be interested in writing about. You don't have to sit down and write for 4 or 5 hours unless you feel like doing it. That is, you know, if you're able to do that, that is an amazing feat for you, that you can sit down and really get into it. And that is what number 2 is. You might want to jump right in. And this usually happens when you haven't written for a while, and then you have that spark of inspiration, and it just hits you, and you can't stop thinking about it, and you just have to stop and write and write and write and write until you get it all out of your system. And sometimes, if you're lucky, you're not going to get it all out of your system in a couple hours. It'll be something that every day, whenever you get up, you have that spark and you need to go and do the writing. So that is jumping right in and doing it. The third, which I know some people who do this, that say they don't have writer's block, they just have to force themselves to write, is that you have to drag yourself kicking and screaming to the page. It is possible to force yourself to write. even when you don't want to and you don't have the inspiration really to do it. I'm always curious about the people who do force themselves to write, about the quality, the imagination, the the different things that make up really good writing, if that's there. Because I can honestly say I am not one of those drag yourself to the page kicking and screaming kind of people. That gets, it's very curious for me. And if you have that type of ability to be able to do that, and you have really great work that comes of it, definitely leave a comment and let us know how you do it. How do you get your inspiration if you are not feeling like writing and kicking and screaming and getting there to do the work, but you have to. And then there's number 4, which could be a combination of those. So I think those that are able to drag themselves kicking and screaming also are doing their writing a little bit differently. Maybe it's a combination of that and then returning slowly. Like, well, I'm kicking and screaming, but I'm going to just write for 25 minutes today. And then they do it. I'm kind of a combination of going slow and then potentially jumping right in. I find that and this last month, 2 months, is the longest I've ever gone without journaling every single day. I looked at my journal yesterday when I was finally able to sit down and write 3 full pages in my journal. I looked at it, and for the month of February, wrote in my journal 4 times. And that is very much unlike me. Before my depression, I was writing in my journal pretty much every day. I might miss a day every couple weeks, but I was getting up very early and writing every day, and then doing some other creative work and then going to work. I'm still not there yet, but I'm getting there. But my goal is to return slowly. And if I get up and I journal, then I succeeded for that day. If I get some ideas for either classes, because I consider what I do whenever I create classes is being creative and writing, because I have to write for that. I have to plan, I have to outline, I have to do all of the writing that you have to do for that. If it's for my creative writing, for one of my short stories or whatever the form it's taking, then, I definitely consider that a bonus whenever I can get that written down. But sometimes it is that slow return where I jot some ideas down. And I kind of look at it every day as it's a new beginning every day. And in an ideal world, I will get up again every single day and I will write. And it's just that idea of you have to return to the page, that you need to be able to get that creative juices going. And even if it is just journaling for a while, you're still writing. Who knows what you might write about. I come up with all kinds of great writing ideas when I'm journaling, so it's not like it's wasted time. I can tell you though that when I get up and when I write, definitely a success. So I try to build myself up every day for that, and I'm fine if I've done that. So thank you so much for spending your time with me. If you found this information helpful, please feel free to share it with others. I know that there are lots of people who are going through the same thing I'm going through right now, and I am kind of making this more of a personal journey that I want to share with y'all. And I'm hoping though that you can see, yes, it is a real thing. Yes, other people can have these issues, and yes, they do work towards getting it all done. Definitely share this with people who you think could use the words of advice. And if you would, take a moment, subscribe to my channel. It'll keep you up to date on the latest from me, from my workshops, and anything else that might be coming about through my work as a writer and as an instructor. So thank you again for joining me. Have a good day.